Hello, and welcome to California Gun Law. I'm your host, Don Hammond. The other day, I did a video about the penalty for carrying a gun in a place that is prohibited by California's Sensitive Places Law, which applies to people who have California CCW licenses. Some of the comments there, and on public forums, indicate people's intention to carry without a license, such as, "The Second Amendment is my permit." So today, I'm going to discuss the penalties if you're caught carrying a gun in California without a CCW license. It can be a felony, and even a misdemeanor conviction will cost you your Second Amendment rights for 10 years. I'm a licensed California attorney and a shooting instructor. I regularly help teach the 16-hour class that's required to get a concealed carry license in California. On this program, we provide education on California's complicated web of gun laws so that responsible gun owners can better understand how to lawfully exercise their rights. California has a complicated web of firearms laws and regulations, and there are a lot of traps for the unwary. We want to help you do it right so that you won't need our criminal defense legal services. Today, I'll discuss what happens if someone without a CCW license is caught carrying a gun in California. A lot of people in YouTube comments and online forums like to say, "The Second Amendment is my permit," or "Why bother getting a license if I can't carry where I want to?" This is on places like Reddit, Quora, comments on my videos, and in Facebook groups. Another shout out to California Concealed Carry-CCW, a great Facebook group full of helpful folks. When people say things like, "The Second Amendment is my permit," I take that to mean that they intend to carry a gun wherever they want, whenever they want, without applying for and obtaining a California CCW license. So the question is, if they're caught, what's the penalty? There are some specific statutes that apply to places like schools and public transit, but I'll focus on two more general penal code sections that apply to carrying a gun in most places. There are Penal Code Sections 25400 and 25850. They're very similar, with similar penalty provisions. Section 25400 prohibits carrying a concealed firearm on your person or in a vehicle, whether or not it's loaded. Section 25850 prohibits carrying a loaded firearm on your person or in a vehicle in a public place. Both are felonies under specified conditions, including if you're prohibited from possessing firearms, if the gun is stolen, if you're a gang member, or if you're not in lawful possession of the firearm. If the gun is loaded and you're not the registered owner, it can be a felony. As a felony, these charges carry up to 3 years in custody. If none of the enhanced qualifiers apply, meaning that you are carrying a gun that you lawfully own and you're not a gang member or otherwise prohibited, then the charge is a misdemeanor, with penalties of up to 1 year in county jail and fines of up to $1,000. But here's the kicker. Even as a misdemeanor, a conviction under Section 25400 or 25850 will trigger a 10-year firearm prohibition under Section 29805 Subdivision F. This was a new change with Senate Bill 2 that took effect on January 1st, 2024. This means that you will be unable to purchase, own, or possess firearms for 10 years. And if you get caught a second time, the charge will likely be filed as a felony with state prison exposure. So there we have it. Some people will still say that it's worth it to carry without a license, but getting a license is now easier than ever in California. I know it's still not as easy as we would like, and it can take a long time and cost significant money, but it's worth it. Once you have a California CCW license, you're exempt from Sections 25400 and 25850, so none of this applies to you. Of course, you're still subject to California's carry conditions and sensitive places under Sections 26200 and 26230, some of which are still subject to an injunction in May v. Bonta, but that's a lot less restrictive and the penalties for violating those sections are a lot less severe. If you're arrested for carrying without a license, the odds of ever qualifying for a license shrink. I just finished a brief for a guy with a 25,850 equivalent conviction from 1986 who was denied a CCW license. I think we're going to win that in court, but it's still showing up and it's still causing him grief. As an attorney, I can't advise someone to violate the law. I can inform you of the penalties that most people don't understand, and you'll have to make your own choices as to what you want to do. But getting caught carrying a gun without a license usually leads to a serious case with serious penalties, so I don't recommend it. I encourage you to go get your CCW license and follow the law. I'm Don Hammond at California Gun Law, and we'll catch you all next time. Stay informed, stay legal, stay safe.